And good evening, everybody. Welcome to an all-new episode of Holotheatre. As always, I'm Dan Tartaglione, also known as D Tartag1. So tonight we got another special interview episode. I had the pleasure of interviewing Stefan de Vos, your 2023 Holotheatre champion over this past weekend. So it is a pre-recorded interview, unfortunately, but it is a really fun and good interview. I learned a lot about Stefan, and hopefully you will as well. But before we really get into that, let's go ahead and get into the news really quick. So there's a lot going on this week and a lot coming up next week as well. So let's start off with the GEM PC. We're still in the third round right now. Right now in the third round, we have Joe Olsen versus Robbie Hendon. Brad Reinhold beat Brad Iyer in the Battle of the Brads, and awaits the winner of Chris Kelly versus J.M. Warner. Kieran faces off against Eric Spixma. Ryan Jelson will face off against Sam Tashima. Mike Kessling will face off against Pat Johnson. Jeremy DiPaolo faces Brad Kipple. Greg Shaw versus Chris Gogolin in a battle of New Jersey and teammates. Worse faces off against Kuhn. Matt Harrison Trainer faces off against Bill Pittman. Connor Britton versus Justin Miyashiro. Drew Lichtenstein versus Dennis Reinhold. Kyle Kruger faces off against the Batmouse himself. Chad Lawrence against Mike Turner. Jared Napolitano, our marketing advocate, faces off against Charlie Arlinson. Justin Branch faces off against Kyle Kalin. And Timo Dussel has already been defeated by Tom. So, but if you're looking at the bracket, we did have one major upset. And that happened, as soon as I can find it, I just saw it. Chad Lawrence defeats Brian Fred in the second round. So, great job by Chad. And then, right now, again, we only have one player in the round of the fourth round. Again, that is Tom Struthers, Gemp Tom. So we are waiting on one more round 2 match, and then we got the round 3 starting up. Hopefully we'll have some of those games streamed as we get closer to the top 8. We'll definitely get more games streamed, so that way give you guys something to look forward to. And then checking up on the OCS really quick. Casey is still in the lead, followed by Tom, just by 2 percentage points. Drew Lichtenstein sitting at third at 9-3, but right now we have our top undefeated player is Jeff Levine sitting at 9-0. And then we have Kyle Kruger sitting at 7-5 as our only player with 12 wins who is better than 500. So, again, you still have 14 days left in the OCS, so get out there, play your games, get some foils, and see who can make it into who gets to the top 2 seeds this month. Then right around the corner, starting on this Friday, is something that I think everybody's going to be excited about, and that is Online Play Week. Online Play Week does start this Friday, February 17th, and goes to the 26th. If you're itching to get some information on it, go ahead and just view up this article that Jared wrote. Participate in some games, get yourself some cool foils, including this nice shiny Lord Sidious foil. And then Nationals, again, March 31st through April 2nd, going to be out in Minnesota. Garrett and all of his team are going to be putting on an amazing event. I know they are modeling it after Worlds. They're going to have 2 rooms to play games in. I think the rumor on the street is that Joe Olsen will be doing commentary. So, if you're scared of Joe, don't be. He's going to be behind the bench doing some commentary, and definitely looking forward to seeing some games being played from this event. And then we also have the Retro League starting, the online retro event Uh, that's coming around here soon. And this, like last year, the Father's Day Open event this year is going to be going towards charity. So if you make a donation of at least $1, 100% of it will be going to onto another charity. The PC will be announcing that soon. So, and they're going to try and tie it in with pediatric care, leukemia, and in memory of Sean Valdez. So uh, this would be a good event to sign up for, even if you don't play in the any of the original events. It's still something to get out there, play some cards. Jared will take care of you for signing up for it, and it's towards a really good cause. So, uh, plus you're playing Star Wars. Like I don't know about you guys, but playing Star Wars is better than not playing Star Wars. So, but right now, let's go ahead and get into our interview with the man himself, your 2023 Routeer Region Champion, Stefan DeVos. He hasn't been on the show before, so this is the first time that he's coming on. Hopefully not the last. He was really fun to talk to, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And then I'll be back at the end of the interview, like always, to wrap it up. And that's what we have on for tonight. So, and like I said, please enjoy this interview.
At this youth league in Amsterdam, which basically was a bunch of my friends and me playing as.
Okay, everybody. So I am sitting here with. Okay, everybody. So I am sitting here with Stefan De Vos, Commander Fox on Slack. I think you're just Fox on GEMP.
Yeah, I actually registered Commander Fox. I forgot my password, and there's no reset password option, so
No.
I just went for the easier Fox.
I think we got to get Echo Base Trooper and all his team on that. Be like, why can we not recover old passwords for like the names that we have?
Yeah, or if you can just combine those two accounts.
Yeah. So, but we're sitting
I'm
here.
thinking about maybe changing the forum handle to just Fox, because
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
easier.
I understand it, but like, you got to have like some sort of like amount of gold and foils on that old account that you
No,
would
I
really
lost it.
like
I
to
lost it
back.
pretty fast.
Adam, help him out. But we're sitting here with your 2023 Routeer champion. You went over to Germany this couple weekends ago and took down quite a stacked field of a lot of good
Hmm.
participants. But before we get into talking about Routeer, let's go ahead and talk about some of the history of yourself. Uh,
Hmm.
we'll get into like who you are as a player because not a lot of like American players probably know you. Like they see you on the forums, they see
Probably
you on
don't. No.
Slack, Gep, but not a lot of people have met you in person. So let's get ahead and talk into your history as a player. So uh, when did you start playing Star Wars?
I think it was back in '95. No, the game came out in '95. So
Mm-hmm.
I think my first I got into the game in around the Hoth expansion, which should be like '97-ish, '98, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Um, in '97, I was 10 years old, and then the old movies were remastered and came back to the cinemas. And that was the time that my dad was like, I'll take him with. Let's see. And 10 years is a perfect age to get into
Mm-hmm.
stuff like sci-fi and Star Wars. So I was hooked immediately.
So was your dad
And
like a big Star Wars fan?
yeah, I guess. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. I never asked him. Um, yeah, I really don't know. But he felt like he'll probably enjoy it. I do know he was a big fan of June. He would have loved to have seen the new June movies.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure about the Star Wars thing. But he did was he realized like there's a card game for it.
Mm-hmm.
My son likes to play games, and it's a good way to learn some English. So he got me hooked on the game. Um, and I still remember opening a halfback with him, and we weren't sure what was a common or an uncommon, so we just looked through the back, and I gave him a card, and he looked it up, and he's like, oh, it's common. And I read a card, I was done with it. So I sneaked the next card and was like, hey, Commander Luke. I still remember that very vividly. That was my first main, and yeah, I kept held on to him ever since, and by now I don't know which one of the Commander Lukes actually is that one.
So it was
But
like
I know I haven't traded it. Never.
That's good. Was Luke your first rare?
No, probably something underwhelming, like Maneuver Check or something from Premier. But it was definitely the first main.
Okay.
And I think I pulled Anakin's lightsaber before him.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because my dad bought the second anthology, the golden box,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a Anakin's lightsaber in it. But I'm not too sure about the order, but I can remember not being able to deploy the Anakin lightsaber on my Luke from the Premier starter set.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 power 2 ability 3 Luke.
Oh yeah, that Luke.
That Luke, yeah.
I mean, I know we have a virtual Vader. Why don't we have a virtual Luke at this point? Like, we had one in Legacy that was. I mean, he was good.
You did,
but we need a virtual Luke, mostly because I've got like 20 copies of him.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people do. I always hope that the Luke Rebellion's Hope would be this Luke, because what's more silly than a teenage boy with a toy T hopper in his hand, T34 or what is it, being the Rebellion's Hope? I thought that would be hilarious, but
I like that idea. Chris Kelly and design, make a Luke so that we can have Luke playing with his T16 Skyhopper as a card.
T16, yeah, something like that.
So
when aboard a T16 Skyhopper, he's an alien, so he can work with the agents in the court, something like that.
I like that. It's different. Yeah, I mean, hey, Chris, right there, boom, you got the card.
Exactly.
So back in the day, did you play a lot?
Yeah, I played quite a bit. There was this, obviously, there were the official tournaments. Decipher was organizing them back then. We had this youth league in Amsterdam, which basically was a bunch of my friends and me playing as 10, 11, 12-year-olds, playing with whatever we could get our hands on. So we had crazy Tusken Raider versus X-Wing decks going on. Some bigger official tournaments, and in 2001 I went to the Paris World European Championships.
Okay.
I managed to make day 3 for top 16. I was number 16, which was really cool. I was 14 years old then, so I was like, yeah, that was really cool. And I still remember like staying up late, tweaking decks, and losing something horribly the next day, the first round. So it's all good, but it was fun. It got me a Emperor Palpatine oversized T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Which I still can't fit.
Do you still have it?
I'm not the biggest guy, but I do. Yeah, actually, my mom just dumped some stuff from the attic at my place, and she's like, "There's T-shirts as well. It's a brand new, never worn."
Wow.
Emperor Palpatine shirt. Yeah.
I know a lot of people who would like to have print. That.
Yeah, probably.
So, did you continue to play from your days when the Cypher had the license to today?
No. So after the Cypher lost the license, I moved on to worse games like Magic and I think even a Yu-Gi-Oh spell in there somewhere for like half a year or so. No Pokemon, no that for sure. And then, like I think it was 2016, maybe 2017, in Amsterdam, I went to this cafe, which is a board gaming cafe, and chess, and they also do Magic the Gathering pre-releases. So I knew it. I was just there with a bunch of friends, just drinking a few beers, and went to the toilet at the end of at the venue. And from the side of my eye, I just glanced at a table and I immediately recognized the setup of a game because Star Wars is quite unique with the locations and everything. And so it caught my attention without being really aware of it. So, and then I was like on the way back, I was like, yeah, they are playing Star Wars. And I recognized Koen Meijsen, Steve Buscemi on the forums, and he recognized me, and that's we just exchanged numbers, and we're like, I got back in the game.
Wow, that's great. That just by a chance like that,
Yeah.
that you got back into you got to meet up with Kuhn, you got back into the game. So, how did it feel to get back into the game? Was it a challenge?
No, not so much actually. I really I picked up the basics of the game really fast again.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really lose them. Obviously, it was new with the virtual cards. I never played with virtual cards. I liked the concept. It was around set 4, I think. I think Jakku Ray just came out, or maybe it was set 5. It was in between there. So it wasn't a too large of a stack of cards to relearn. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love the kitchen table uniqueness of the game, and especially in the Netherlands,
Okay.
where there is no normal meta. Like it's just a bunch of random decks, which is really great, but it's really not good to practice for major tournaments. And I like that. I like that a lot. It's still one of the best games out there.
So I know that Worlds was held out in Germany back in 2019. Did you go to that?
Yeah, that I went there, and I started off pretty bad, 0-2, and then I won the next 6. So,
Wow.
and I had to do the playoffs against Crackshaw, and won that one. So made top 8 for the next day,
Oh, nice.
and lost to Brian Mishke in a close. I think it was 2 cards difference or something like. He won the first game by 5, and I won the second game by 3, something like that. Was it weird?
Wow.
Uh, yeah, it was a great run.
Yeah,
Great weekend as well.
Mishke was playing really well in that event. Like, it was surprising to
For sure.
see
Yeah.
because that was like his first. Like, he's gone to events like that, but like to see him come out and make the top 8, go to and then come second to Bastion was really
Yeah.
nice. At least from the
Yeah, it was
Americans.
really good. I played him. I played him 3 times that weekend because I lost my second game on day 1 to him.
Okay.
I played the I think Werfs made this Realtor Operations main stack with Vader. You still had the Mustafar V, which could download Vader's castle, and I played that, and I just I never played it before the tournament, so I made the deck, went there, I learned it in the game against Mishki, and then the next day I won the same match again.
Wow.
So it improved a bit.
That's good.
Yeah, it was a great deck actually. It was really fun to play. I liked. I think Worf makes a lot of great decks. Just not in the normal range of cards, but just a little bit different, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean that's evidence because like when you went to speak like this weekend or this past weekend, or when you went to Rallitier, you played 2 decks that were not on any. I don't think anybody put these on any range for the event. You played We Have a Plan and Endor Operations. What made you play those 2 decks?
I played the We Have a Plan deck on the Dutch Nationals in last November, something like that. Won that with the WAP.
Okay.
Basically on the premises that nobody would play Imperial Decree V at the moment because no ID got nerfed. Rescue the Princess all single pings. So like, nobody's probably playing this. Why not abuse WAP? That worked on the Dutch Nationals, and then so some time passes, and busy with 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So that takes up most of the time. And I was actually talking with Emma, my partner. Like, I don't think I'm gonna play Star Wars anymore this year.
Oh man.
Because the work-life private time balance it's just off, and I get a little bit competitive into Star Wars sometimes. So like I'll let that go for a year, because next year Worlds is probably coming back to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be back then, but like this year is going to be a quiet year. So I didn't spend any time looking at any cards. And then basically leading up to the tournament, I watched on the commute to work. I watched one game, Ryan Jellison playing Ender Ops on
Okay.
the San Diego Supernova. I'm like, okay, sure, this looks fun. And then I was like, the evening before, I'm like, okay, what light side decks do I still have? Oh, I have a WAP deck, but it plays Camino and the two Twigs. So I was like, okay, I'll swap that out because Thrawn looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
So I'll swap that out, add a Coruscant and just the Boss Nass Chambers package, and I'll keep that deck. And I made a actually I didn't even make the Ender Ops decks. I had no time. So I just picked a Shadow Collective deck, which was still there. I'm like, okay, is this still good? Probably should change Mole because it got errated.
Mm-hmm.
I only had one new errata Mole, so I took one out. And woke up the next day. We were heading to Bochum. Eric Spijksma, who was on your show a couple of weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago, Koen Meijsen, and myself. We were heading out there. I didn't feel like playing Shadow Collective, so I just ran upstairs. Basically, took 6 decks with me. Like, just should probably have all the parts I need for this
Mm-hmm.
Ender Ops deck, and sat in the back of the car and started making the deck. Trying to make the Ryan Jellison deck, but I didn't bring any of the Darth Maul Lone Hunter. So like, okay, what do I do now? And I'll just improvise something with any methods necessary as a start, and we'll take it from there.
I like it. Like I noticed, like you are playing any methods, and I was wondering, wonder that why, like, so it was just a complete like, you just maneuver from what Ryan played, and it was just being a little creative. I love
Well,
that.
to be honest, I think it was either Ryan Jellison or Ryan Serson who played this Ender Operations Any Methods Necessary start like 5 years ago or something, like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just once in a tournament. I've I've used it once in a tournament before, like a small local tournament. So I know the start, and I like the fact that you have your ship and your twigs, and you don't put a lot of cards on the table. It's basically like a dark side throne room mains.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I play the deck.
Okay. Interesting.
You have a few open slots for tricks, like set for stun.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
going to ask you about that. So, like, looking at the deck in particular, you put a set for stun in, Talon
mhm.
Roll, uh,
Yeah, there's a story with that one.
Admiral Trench in there. Interesting. Like, I know he's another admiral. Like, he can pull him, but that was definitely an interesting card. But yeah, like, so can you talk why the set for stun and why the Talon Roll? Those are the two big ones.
Yeah, and the trench works with the Slave 1, the symbol of fear, because it has the episode 1 icon.
Okay.
So you can't put it with the Ender Shield, but just basically if you need it, you just dig for it or Imperial command it, and then makes that much more of a deterrence, because a Slave 1 with Boba and also Entrench is like, do you really want to battle into that?
Yeah.
I guess you don't, because it's like fully immune. It draws 2 destinies. You can draw only one if Ender Ops is flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Just ignore it. So that's like basically the setup. It looks like a heavy space deck, but it isn't,
Mm-hmm.
because it's quite light on space actually. But it's just all about the appearance of being a heavy space deck. And then set for stun, I just love that card. Tom, obviously with his nines deck, I sort of copied that for last European Championships.
Mm-hmm.
Went 2-2, losing the last game to Brian Fred. Not even that close, actually. He just beat me handsomely. But I did like that deck a lot. So I like the control set for stun. And then I think Jellison played the Setverstun normal in
Okay.
San Diego Super Open, and somebody on commentary mentioned it's only 2 4s. I'm like, hey, that's a good deal. So we'll
Yeah.
throw that in there. There's like 4 7s in it, so you just track that around and use it whenever
Mm-hmm.
you want to. Or Tarkin's Bounty on Tarkin, and I know there's only one Tarkin's Bounty and there's only one Tarkin, but yeah, you just draw up until you get the pieces, basically. And then the talent roll, I was like, there's this hand Chewie, or there's this Falcon, the new Falcon, which basically makes a hand Chewie Falcon, but a free card version, which is pretty unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 Destinies, ITA7, it's horrible. And like I said, it was in the back of the car, and I had this dark maneuver talent roll card. I'm like, reads Thai LM, don't have that. And picked up a whiteboard of talent roll. So like, okay, new version. Oh, okay. Any Imperial Starfighter and a Rebel Starfighter. That sounds like a cool tech.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a cool tech, but it's errata. It has
Oh,
to be Thai LM.
Thailand. So
So it's in there. It's completely useless. It's a great Destiny 4. That's it.
you know what? I like the idea with it. You're thinking outside the box on ways to get rid of the Han chewing the Falcon, or not the Han chewing the Falcon, the Falcon with
Yeah.
Han and Chewie on it, just because that
Yeah.
card is really strong and it's not fun to play against.
Yeah. No, and like if like just reading the text on this hard copy talent roll, any Imperial Starfighters like Mera and Ship is power
Mm-hmm.
5, maneuver 5, so you're one up against a 9 power Falcon, or Colonel Jandon in the Onyx 1, also 5/5, so you're one up. So it seemed like a good deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then just float a normal dark maneuvers to add 2 maneuver 1 power to make the difference greater, and then or a Marek Steel aboard Mara Jade, and that was the plan.
No, I like it. I like that. I mean, I like the idea of it. Like, it seems like it would be like you're thinking outside the box. I love that. Like, I know a lot of people putting like Fury into their decks
Yeah,
to help with Honshu and the Falcon. So that's another good card. I know.
for
I
sure.
think
Yeah,
Scotland Grill played Mournful Roar lately, which is
also
another card
nice.
that you would never
Yeah.
think about. So I like that people are being creative on how to beat certain decks.
Yeah, that's the idea. And that's also the drawback of making a deck on the back seat of a car on the way to a tournament.
Yeah.
Sometimes apparently cards are not what they seem to be anymore.
So and then like you said, so WAP, you played a lot of WAP. The big thing, like you were
Yeah.
saying, was the Coruscant, and the other thing is, this is not your normal WAP. I'm looking at, I see what, 3 blasters in the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, it is WAP is the deck I played on the first European Championships when I got back 2017. So it's been a old favorite of mine. Especially if you don't play a lot, it's easy to set up. You just have to do this basically.
Mm-hmm.
Move to 2 sides and win the game. That's basically what it says on the card. So like, okay, I'll play that. But obviously a lot of people stack this throne room, so I just threw in a good blaster.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a plan B, and the uncivilized blaster is pretty good. +2 against vehicles as well. So on the courtyard it's +3
Mm-hmm.
because it adds 1. So if they come to your courtyard with like a walker, fine, you just shoot it down. Same goes for the blaster rifle fee from set 0 or 1, something like that. It also says adds 2 if you shoot a vehicle.
Okay.
And offensive, it also works. It works on General Kenobi, but also on Anakin Skywalker, who also adds 1 to
Mm-hmm.
any weapon destiny draw, and then just throw in a slight weapons malfunction. Yeah, just do something wacky, basically.
So I gotta ask, why Amidala's blaster? Like, not a lot of people play that card.
Oh, it's Destiny 6 and it's a blaster.
Okay.
You can ping with it. You
Mm-hmm.
can shoot stuff for power 0 for the remainder of the game. It doesn't say end of turn.
And I like how you're only running two. You're running Qui-Gon Jinn with lightsaber, and you're running Master Qui-Gon with lightsaber. Why the
Yeah, the
difference?
new one. Yeah, it's one force cheaper. It's not that you're really force starved with WAP. You tend to end up with like 12 or 14 a turn easily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's like let's give the new one a shot. It's one force cheaper. The other one adds Destiny with Maul, so still good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why not both? Basically, that was the
Yeah.
idea. Also, I think I played one Jedi lightsaber in it,
Mm-hmm.
so you're quite light on the lightsabers. And I wanted to play. I don't know if I even played it, but a Jedi's concentration to stop the lightsabers from swinging.
Yeah,
And you
you
need
do play.
lightsabers for that,
Yeah, you do play that. Um,
and also a clash, I think. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, you need some lightsabers for that. So I definitely wanted to go to two Qui-Gons and just
Okay.
mix it up a bit.
And I like how you're playing two CO Bibble. Uh,
That's a great card.
it is a great card. Like, as a fan of WAP myself, not a lot of people they look at CO Bibble and they're like, okay, you can just play one. You get so much activation from him. You can just
Yeah,
park if they stack up the hallway. You can just or the throne room. You can just park him at the throne or the hallway. Subtract one from their drains.
yeah, exactly. Basically, that's what most games come down to. You lose the throne room, you just put a projection there. You have Saya Bible, or CO Bible, whatever you call him, next door, to shut down that drain. He adds 2 activation. He also adds 1 to power for every
Mm-hmm.
Republic character, and basically you probably end up with a doom stack of like 5 or 6 guys. So that's just like 3, 5 or 6 power.
Yeah.
He's a great card, and I prefer running 2 of him over 3 Amidala's and 1 of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, if you lose Amidala, it's game over anyway. So
Yeah. Very true. So yeah. So let's talk about the tournament itself. So, how did it feel to go to Germany again to play Star Wars?
yeah, it's just a 2-hour drive, so it feels further than it is. It's just a 2-hour drive. With the Dutch crew, we go there once a year to the European Championships. We have
Mm-hmm.
basically the same Airbnb every year, so we kind of know it by now. But this time we just decided to go for one day, a smaller group, Koen, Eric, me. And I wasn't sure if I was going. I was getting a little bit sick by then, the day before. So just in the morning I just texted them, yeah, I'm still on.
Nice.
We went there, no expectations whatsoever. Um, and then yeah, things turned out pretty well.
So, so you went with like so. Uh, Besides like your 2 hour car drive, what kind of prep did you do? Did you really like look at the meta, like look at anything in
No,
between?
no, like no, nothing. I literally did not pay any attention to Star Wars. I just watched. I know the San Diego Open was there, so I did look at the like the deck breakdown of Echo Base Trooper, seeing a lot of Thrawn. So I was like, okay, WAP seems fine. If they don't run Imperial Decree, that's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Do need to make the course change. And for lights, I was like, probably a lot of Anakin decks. That was my
Yeah.
estimate. And I watched one game on YouTube. Like the Ryan Jellison game with Endor operations, because that looked fun. Looked at, and that was it basically. No testing, nothing. Just grab some decks,
Wow.
made one on the back seat, and go. Yeah, basically that was it.
I love the fact that you build a deck on the backseat of a car.
Yeah, well, there's this running gag actually in the Dutch community that I always tend to build a deck on the way to the tournament.
So, game one, who did you play against on your first game?
First game, Thomas.
Okay.
He was playing Thrawn, as expected, I would say. He did run Imperial Decree V. Um, and that was my third game ever against France. So I was like, okay, pretty harsh with a Kashyyyk start and like 3 damage a turn. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
that spices things up. He did deploy the 2/2 because he needed the force. So that was easy money for me, so to say. I just went to that side. I made it a battle over the Twigs, actually, over his 2/0.
Okay.
Because I had I went for a quick flip, obviously very light, with just Amidala and CO at the throne room and something else at the 1/1. With the blaster, one was enough. So I had 1 pin from the objective, 1 pin from the blaster, just a drain of 1, and then made it a battle over the 2/0. So he had to commit resources to a non-battleground, and making him pay the entire game for drains, just like me. So that felt fair from my point of view.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I could expand a bit. I think I went Anakin Padawan learner really early to the 2/2. I think my second turn was like something to the 1. No, you can't do that. Something to the 2/1 and move to the 1/1, move to the throne room and Anakin to the 2/2, something like that, and then just flip and one character everywhere. Like, I'm flipped. Come at me, bro. Something like that. And then just after that, go to the 2/0. Well, with Jar Jar, I think I open-handed Jar Jar actually. So that was okay. I think I was a small, like 4 or 5 cards ahead the entire game, and then things spiraled out of control basically for him. And then really late game, I went to space.
And you just stacked at the Coruscant system?
No, I just deployed the rig in ship
Okay.
to the Kashyyyk and then moved to Loval, because if I control it, it's a battleground.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed fair. Had a barrier in hand, and he came down with
Okay.
Vengeance, so I buried that. And Kirky, but then it's not a battleground anymore because it's occupied, but not by an Imperial Admiral. So Kirky can't do his thing.
Oh, okay.
And I still had to pay for drains. And then next turn I just deployed Coruscant to fly over there. Yeah, something like that. And then, but by then it was already game or time, and I think I was up by 12 cards or so. So it wasn't. It felt good. I was happy with my choice by then. I was like, okay, yeah, the idea I had against Throne works apparently.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And it was Throne with the 3, so I was happy with that.
Really impressive.
Yeah. I did stack a Panaka somewhere among the lines on the art card, so that was bad because that's my only Panaka. So I had no way to up the damage basically.
Okay, and then game. So you're sitting 1-0. Who do you play against game 2?
Emil, which is rough because, well, Emil's Emil. He's like one of the best players. Never won against him in a tournament up to now, so that was good. He was playing Agents in the Court, which is a surprise because we always expect him to play Old Allies. And I had this Ender Op stack, went Thrawn to the bunker for the established secret base, moved him over in 2 turns to the 2/1 for a drain of 2. And obviously had the Ender system. He refrained from deploying the Tatooine system. And he went to, I think, the 2 Jabba's Palace sites. He couldn't find a cantina or something like that. And I just went down with the Lord Maul, got barriered. And then I had like a whole bunch of tricks in my hand. I also had the Newt Gunray, the You Are Beaten, the Set for Stun. I kind of knew my destinies. And then I just said, okay, I don't do anything else. I don't deploy the Newt Gunray. And I just passed the turn because I had the Gug. And he went down hard on the side. And I didn't use any tricks. He had a Tals.
Okay.
So that was basically, I just swung at the Tals. And then obviously he pulled the gig, he grabbed it. So that was an important moment because I had to be careful then.
Mm-hmm.
But he was stacked really hard on the 2 Jabba's Palace sides with like 10, 11, maybe 12 characters. So he definitely got his Ancient Watering Hole going, but he was stuck on two 1 sides, which were drains of 2 each.
Okay.
But then I was able to use all the dark side mains to go to like the Cantina and the Mos Eisley and the
Mm-hmm.
Hut trade route. And he didn't really have that much left. And he finally went to space with the Tatooine system. And I think I scared him away with the Slave 1. I'm not sure if we battled in space or maybe short range fighters to get around that I don't like sand effect.
Okay.
And then I think
It,
that was the game. Oh, he lost to Gold Leader and Gold 1 really early from the
oh.
top deck.
Mm-hmm.
And that was important because that was probably his only second ship. And it turned out to
Oh,
be
wow.
like that. And with the Verify, I noticed the Hujix in his deck.
Okay.
And so basically it was a beatdown at the end somewhere,
Oh, wow.
including the set for stun and the URB.
All the tricks.
Yeah, so that's pretty rough. Like a Lord Maul and a Newt Gunray and a URB and a set for stun.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Kind of game ending most of the times if you don't have a Hujix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a surprise because normally he's like full of tricks, but there were no tricks. That was weird.
Sometimes
And
it
then,
happens.
yeah, that happens, but that never happens to Emil. So I was quite surprised to win that one.
And then game 3.
Up against Koen, it's always good if you do a 2-hour drive and play.
You got to do
friends.
it. You know,
You
almost
gotta
every
do it
time
well.
you drive with somebody, it's like you face them in a tournament.
Exactly, yeah. He already played Eric before that, so he was really having a blast. That was a weird game. I was the Ender Ops Flips deck. He was Anakin, the Anakin deck.
Mm-hmm.
We both had a very weird start. So with any methods necessary, you draw like 6 cards. At least 1 Admiral and the Ender Shield and 3 times Phantom Menace.
Wow.
And I play 3. So that was not the best starting hand. And then like 1 or 2 turns later, I missed the Accelerate pool for the bridge. That's great. But he also missed like all his poolers.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 2 turns were a meager like 5 or 6 fours each.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of crawl into this game. I set up the drain at the Ender system. He top decks, I think. Sorry about the mass.
Okay.
And then he only had the Endor Celebration the virtual 2 card thingy that destroys undercover spies, and I play 1 U3PO. So I dig for that. He's like with the Anakin's lightsaber at my docking bay, draining for 2. I'm draining in space for 2. And then he just deploys the Nightclub and the Yoda, Master of the Force. So I just put down U3PO, and that was that for the rest of the game. And he went to space, obviously, after a while to the Polis Mara. But like I said, he missed a lot of pools. I think he had to Ray for the Jedi Council Chamber pool or something like that. It was really bad for him as well, and he kept missing the Falcon.
Oh.
So he went to space with Leia Resistance Transport. I think there was the stand effect was definitely out with Holdo on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just used the spin, the short range fighter combo to get through it. So that clears him out of space. And then finally he did get the Falcon package up. At the Polis, I move over with the Slave. He moves to Endor. And I had the Mara Jade there and the Colonel Jandon in hand and the cannons in the hand, but also the Talon Roll.
Okay.
So I deployed the Marek Steel, Marek Steel, what's his name? Yeah, on the Mara Jade and the Jandon, but not the guns. And like deploy phase, I'm like, okay, I'll do this Talon Roll thing. we read the cards, we read all the cards. Like, okay, we'll look it up on the scomp link if it says anything. It says nothing because it just shows you the errata. But on the scomp link, it doesn't show the E. So we're like, yeah, we know the picture because we're looking at the picture. So we, you scroll past, you're looking at the rulings, nothing there. So we let the talent roll happen. It worked. We talked about it later. Like I said, I also had to get the cannons in hand and enough force, and there was the 7 on top. It was potato.
Yeah.
We went this route. He wocklinged it back. Ray deployed Ray again, or I think Ray again to take it back into hand, but he was already low on like low teens, like 11 force, maybe 10, so he had to do like 2 turns to get the Falcon back up from the docking bay, load it up, fly it back up in space. But it was already too late then, and then just choke Vader with the track 6 to clear the docking bay, and that was game.
Wow.
So feel pretty bad about the talent roll, and we talked about it extensively afterwards. We were like, nobody noticed. Eric also was looking at it. He looked it up. Nobody noticed, and I think we were talking about this after the tournament with a lot of people. Like, yeah, this seems like a good card against Hanchu Falcon, and I think it was Dylan who says, but doesn't it need to be Thailand?
Of course it's him. Of course
and
it's
he
Timo
explained,
correcting everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So we looked it up again, and we're like, oh yeah, it that's true. Yeah, it was bad actually. But that's what you get for making decks on the backseat of a car, basically. And in a game that's full of erratas and everything.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty bad about it, but like Koen said, it's okay. Okay, well, I'm happy it happened in the game with Koen. But I still feel pretty bad about it. It would not have changed the game outcome. I mean, he was already low in teens. I was around 18 or 19 force, so up by a comfortable 8 cards. I had the cannons in hand, and that helps a lot with this, because I was like, I have 2 routes, I'll just do this because it feels cool, to talent roll someone. I just really wanted to do that.
Yeah,
and otherwise I would have gone the guns route, which is like, nah, that's all. Everybody knows that.
So game 4. I was going to say, so game 4, who do you play against?
Game 4, I have to think. Played Grady also, but no, I had to be a light side. Kieran. I play Kieran.
Okay.
And he's strong again.
Yeah.
But no Imperial Decree.
Oof.
So he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna win this. I'm like, do you want to play the game? He's like, yeah, let's give it a try. And he goes really aggressive with I think the Thunder Flare and Kurgi and Thrawn really early to Kashyyyk. So that's like 2 drain, 1 pin for the art, and Kurgi hits like 5 or 6 times in a row. So that adds up. But I flip again turn. What's the fastest you can flip? Turn 2. So I flip turn 2. And have Panaka early. So that's like 6 damage without paying. Because I had 2 blasters. And then I just pay for range of 1 because that's fine, So I do 9 damage a turn, he does 4, and he just extends the hand like after 5 turns or something. Sure, whatever. Which makes sense because if you don't have the decree, it's
rough.
He didn't deploy the 2/2, so that's good for him.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Basically, no. So that was a really easy game, and then game 5, I have to be WAP again against Grady.
Okay.
He played Shadow Collective.
Okay.
And I took out what chance do we have, because who's gonna play Shadow Collective? So I got sort of whopped myself. So he goes hard to the throne room. Obviously, I do Shio Bibble, Projective. He loses 1 to the Mole Saber to still get some damage in to a turn. And 1 from the blaster, and I just spread all over the place. Obviously, Coruscant system early. bit of a gamble. Does he have space or not? I saw no signals, so I was like, sure, I'll gamble it. Just put the system down for the force, and then after a while go up to space.
Mm-hmm.
And basically we just fight a bit on the first light bar, and really late game, I finally go to the throne room. We just stare at each other for like 2 turns in the throne room. Nobody wants to really initiate the battle because we're both sort of lower on force. So if you activate,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really draw that much anymore because we both have like 5 weapons and multiple destinies. It's like, yeah, who's really gonna benefit from this
Mm-hmm.
battle? But I was benefiting from not battling because he didn't really do me any damage anymore.
Okay.
And then I think after a while I threw out the mess something and then disarm something else, and then we do battle, and then I win. Yeah, because then things got shot and disarmed, and oh yeah, he does the Lana dope read. He kept on, held on to it all the game long,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end he was like, I'll have to force something, so I'll use the just the neighboring text of it.
Okay.
But that's not immune to sense, and I held on to a sense all game long. And then, yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, really non-interactive game actually, which you would not expect from a Shadow
Yeah.
Collective WAP. It wasn't that interactive.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it was an interesting chess match, but it's a movement game. It's not a battle game, so it was
Sometimes we
fine.
get those.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the game in general is a movement game, I think, but
Yeah.
that's a different perspective, perhaps. And then game 6 against another Agents in the Court.
2 people playing agents in the court. That's
Yeah, that's the
surprising.
weird thing. Yeah, I know. So I played 2 times Thrawn, 2 times Agent. I think it's Patrick. Yeah, it's Patrick. Or Thomas again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Thomas again. And then, yeah, by then I was like the only undefeated still. And Amy was going up to like 4-1, so I was 5-0. We know we had to play the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, whatever, if I lose, I also still play the finals because everybody else was at 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a game for fun. And it basically came down to Lord Sidious. You can't really get rid of him if you only play like small aliens.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's a
and
pain.
yeah, he is a pain. Yeah, and especially if you're flipped, you can only draw 1 destiny if
Mm-hmm.
Darkseid is flipped. So he was just sitting there at this trade route. We had some weird battles going on there. In space, we were staring at each other at the Coruscant system,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just draining on Endor, draining on the 2-1 of Endor. He was draining for 2-2 in the Jabba's Palace locations. And basically, he was playing the Mandalorian style.
Okay.
Amy was playing the Gungan style. So with Fen Rao as a rep.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like 3 or 4 battles on this trade route. The first time he forgot about the game text of Lord Sidious, so he didn't draw Destiny and just
Oops.
lost the character, and then moved away. And the next time, actually, I think I initiated with Lord Sidious, Kylo, and Lord Maul.
Wow.
Yeah, and the result of that battle was I lost by 1 on power. Can you imagine? And him not losing that much, actually, except for the lightsaber swings.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost Lord Maul because I had the second one in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Moved Kylo Ren over for additional drain of 1 on the farm, which didn't seem that much, but I had a set for stun in hand and a You Are Beaten again.
Okay.
And then he came down with Ayla, and I think Fen Rao was still there probably, and something else against Sidious. So I exclude Fen Rao.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was a 7 on top, so I set for stun Isla. And there was just this lone character facing down Sidious, so he lost, I think it was Jar Jar. So on his battle, he lost Jar Jar and free overflow.
Wow.
And then he moved Jockskit over, and I just activate. I saved 4 force, so next turn I activate 1 more, pay 3 force for the accelerate, get no escape, get the set for stun back, and he's like, okay, sure, whatever. Game. So yeah, looking back at it, I was like, yeah, just 2 premier commons won me the tournament, like Talon Roll and set for stun. Okay, obviously the Talon Roll was a bit of an error, but set for stun is still pretty good.
Yeah. That's crazy that your tournament was that set for stun impacted that much.
Yeah, it's just a blowout card, and even if you play 1, if you track it around a bit, the 7s or the 6s, you're good.
Okay, and so you had to play the finals, and I'm assuming it was against Emil. What happened?
Well, Emil was there a day earlier.
Okay.
And he
I see where this is
had
leading.
some beers. Yeah, he had quite a few beers. And I noticed this in the second game because he was trembling a bit, which is a funny advantage you get sometimes. And I was a bit sick, so there we are. At the start of the tournament, Chris Mansell was like, all right, who's ready to play some games? Do we go 8 or 6? And everybody was like 6. Because everybody who stayed the night earlier was hungover. And the 3 Dutch people were like, yeah, we still have to drive home, so we're good with 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm sick anyway, so just whatever. As long as I don't get into the finals, I'm happy. So the result is we have a hungover Emil and a sick me, and we were both like, do we really want to go into this? And we were like, we analyzed the decks a bit. He was playing walkers, but I don't think he was playing the Kree Fee.
Okay.
So we're like, yeah, okay, one of us wins that match by like 5 or so. And then it comes down to dark side mains versus light side aliens. So we were like, probably I'm a bit advanced. We played it already, and Emil was like, yeah, let's not drag this out. So we basically decided we split it.
Okay, that's good. But he gave you the championship.
Yeah, because I went 6-0 and he went 5-1.
Okay, that's good.
That was the reasoning behind it. So we were like, okay, yeah, and we deducted the chance of the finals going any way different, which obviously can happen. But if you don't have any really bad luck, it would probably come down to a win in the first match, WAP versus the Walkers with like 5-ish for either one, and then the dark side 8 Ender Ops looked pretty decent on paper against the agents in the court.
Yeah,
that was it. So
I can understand.
I'm sorry. No big final.
Hey, there's more than enough reasons not to play a final, and you guys got 2 of them. You not feeling well, and Emil enjoying the beer that he had the previous night.
Yeah, he was.
So, how did it feel to come back and go 6-0 in the event, and then win the event?
Yeah, pretty good. I think it's always easy for me if Koen goes, because I'm like, okay, he's going to perform well, so I can just scrub around in the back. So that really relieves all the pressure. It was fun. It was really unexpected. It was quite a good field with Kieran and Emil, and obviously Angelo, former world champion as well. Timo was there, Koen.
Yeah.
Thomas, Patrick, Chris Mansell. I mean, it was a pretty good field. Eric made top 16 in OCS, so it was very unexpected. So I guess a combination of luck and maybe guessing the meta correctly, that WAP would be a good one.
I mean, and like you said, like building indoor operations in the back of a car never hurts.
Yeah. No. And if I had the Darth Mauls, the Lone Hunters with me, I would probably have built the Ryan Jellison version, but I didn't. So I was like, I'll try to make this the most copy I can, but
I like
differently.
it. Well, again, congratulations on the
Thank you.
victory. It's great to, and then it's also great to have you on for the first time. Hopefully, we'll meet up next year at Worlds. Like, I'm definitely looking forward to going over to Europe. Uh,
Yeah,
I
that'd be
was,
great. Yeah,
I
cool.
was, I wish it was this year. Like, I know it was supposed to be this year, but
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I find it a pity as well, but hopefully next year. And then I think in 2019 there were like 20 or 25 Americans. It was a
yeah,
lot, and
yeah,
it was really cool. Great atmosphere. I think we completely limited the venue as far as seats go. But it should be a bigger venue next year.
that's great.
That's the rumor I heard.
Hmm.
So that's great. I hope many Americans come. It's always the weirdest of worlds you're probably gonna have, but it's also probably the most fun
Yeah, that's what
you're
I
gonna
hear.
have.
A lot of people have said the same thing that European Worlds are the most fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's all the experience I have in worlds, but yeah, sure. The European Championships are always great, so
Hmm.
we pretty much take the same atmosphere to the worlds, and
That's great.
that's really fun. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Well, thank you for coming on. It has been a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll have you on at some point again. But it has been
Sure.
great talking to you and getting to know you.
Yeah, you too. All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Dan.
Bye. Okay. So again, I want to thank Stephen for coming on and being my guest. Uh, Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the interview as much as I did giving it. Next week, being that it's online play week, we're going to specialize on GEMP and everything GEMP. So we're going to try and get one of the developers on, talk about like the history of GEMP, what's going on behind the scenes, and stuff like that. So until then, everybody take care, enjoy your weekend, and as always, may the force be with you. Good night, everybody.